Hi, sweet love. Today I'm going to walk you through exactly what I do and why I do it to help my clients feel more authentic and make their life easier using human design. Something that I have in my human design chart that is a gift and a strength and is in my zone of genius is that I'm able to take complex matters and simplify them and explain them in a way that removes the overwhelm from actually taking action. And at the root of every single thing that I do, my number one goal, what I want for absolutely everybody that I come in contact with, is to feel like an absolute authentic soul. That is the heart and root of everything that I do. I want everyone to feel like an authentic soul. Now, an authentic soul has three things: awareness, confidence, and grace. Awareness means having an understanding of our energy, our soul, who we are, and how that shows up in the world. Really understanding our process, what works for us, what doesn't, what our needs are, what our needs aren't. Having a really robust awareness and understanding of who we are. Confidence to actually execute on that awareness, even if it feels scary, even if it feels different, even if it feels like it goes against what everybody else is doing or what everybody else is telling us to do. It's one thing to have the awareness and to know what our soul needs, and it's another thing to actually do what our soul needs. And the third thing is grace. Having grace not only for ourselves, but for other people, and understanding that everyone is on their own journey. Everyone is at different levels in their journey, and what works for one person is not necessarily going to work for another person. Having the grace and awareness that we are all beautiful souls and we all have a unique energy, and really extending that grace to ourselves that we are different, and grace to others that they are also different. Now, in order to connect to that authentic soul, or to feel connected to that authentic soul, we need three things. We need a really solid foundation, so a foundational understanding of our energy and of human design. We need to take that foundation, and then the next thing we need is to translate it, so translation. And then the third thing that we need is experimentation. Now, like I was saying before, we need a really solid foundation. Like anything, in order to feel really secure and stable and deeply rooted within ourselves and our understanding, we need a solid foundation to be able to build and to be able to grow from. When we think about buildings or relationships or anything of that magnitude, having a really solid foundation is crucial to how the rest of the journey progresses. Now, when it comes to human design, there is a lot of information to know. And one thing I want to be really clear about, and a caveat I always like to give, is that human design is not meant to put us in a box. Human design is not here to tell us what we can or we can't do. At least not the way that I use human design. What human design is it gives us awareness into the how we are designed to do something that's authentic to us and will actually come easily to us and help things feel like they're more easy. This is where translation really comes into play, and this is my favorite part of what I do with my clients. Now, translation takes that foundational understanding and actually translates the human design language into how it actually shows up in your life. You are so unbelievably unique and beautiful, and what might be interpreted one way in human design might not actually resonate with you. So translating the foundational elements, the foundational understanding of human design into your life is a crucial part of the journey to feeling more authentic, right? And to feel like things are happening a lot more easy and we're actually connected to that energy. And once we have that translation, guess what? We're gonna feel a lot more confident in taking action because we have interpreted it in a way that actually aligns with us. So this is my personal favorite part, is actually translating that. And that's where my gifts really come into play, right? Bringing order to chaos, translating complex matters and really simplifying them to get rid of that overwhelm. And then the third thing that we need, so although translation is my absolute favorite part of this, experimentation is the most important. It's the most critical. And this is where people tend to either not be aware, right? They aren't aware that they need to experiment. They don't have the confidence, so they're afraid to actually experiment with this information because it is different or it is scary. But experimentation is really where the transformation happens. It's really where life starts to feel easier. It's really where you start to feel more authentic. So experimentation is a crucial part of this process that can't be overlooked, because you have the foundational understanding and now you've translated it into your life, but you actually have to go through the motions and actually try things out to see, okay, I thought that this is how this was going to resonate in my life or be experienced in my life, but now I'm trying it and I'm actually seeing it's coming out this way. So experimentation is the absolute pinnacle of this journey. Now here's the thing. If we don't build a solid foundation first, like I said, there's so much information in human design and it can get quite overwhelming. But if we don't build that solid foundation first, we're going to constantly feel like we're starting at zero, or we're constantly going to be questioning things. Well, I don't understand what that means, and I don't understand what this is, right? And so what we're actually going to end up doing is feeling like we're struggling to move through quicksand. Because we don't have that solid foundation, things are going to kind of fall through the cracks and not feel secure and not feel stable and not feel deeply rooted in that understanding. If we don't spend time to actually translate that information, we're going to end up continuing to feel confused and overwhelmed. And that's no bueno. And if we don't spend the time actually experimenting with this information, we're going to continue feeling uncertain in our actions and uncertain in what works for us and what doesn't, which is also no bueno. Now, I want to break these down a little further for you. So the 3 parts of building a really solid foundational understanding of human design is, first and foremost, you need to understand what human design is. And to be completely honest, you need to understand what human design isn't as well. Because like I said, it is not a be-all and end-all. It is not a resource meant to put us inside a box. So we really need to understand what human design is and the history of it and where it came from in order to really have our confidence in the spiritual science that it has merit and it is actually going to change and transform our lives. And we also need to know what it isn't, so that when we see things online or we hear things that certain people are talking about, we have, again, the confidence and the awareness to be like, no, that doesn't actually resonate with me. The second thing we need to really build a solid foundation in our understanding with human design is that we need to actually break down the chart basics. When you look at a human design chart, it can feel very overwhelming. There are so many shapes and patterns and colors and lines and symbols. I know that when I first looked at a human design chart for the very first time, my first words were, fuck no. Like, that's too much for me. I don't want to dive into that. It's too complex. So in order to overcome that and build a really solid foundation, we need to break it down. We need to break down the chart basics and really understand what it is we're looking at. And the third piece of building a really solid foundation in understanding human design and connecting to our authentic soul is discovering your unique design. So now we know what human design is. Now we understand the basics of a human design chart. Now let's discover what your chart actually says about you. The 3 areas we really need to focus on in translating this information is, first and foremost, translating it to figuring out how you can honor your energy. This is your life. This is your soul that we are trying to connect to. Your authentic soul, make your life easier. You are the #1 priority in this process. So we need to spend time figuring out, how does this foundational information translate so that you can really honor yourself and your energy. The second area we want to focus on, because we are not individual pods living in corn husks that never interact with people, is that we need to figure out how this foundational information translates into how you connect in your relationships. Because like I said, we need to have grace and understanding that everyone else also has an authentic soul. Everyone else is not exactly like us. So we need to have an understanding of our energy and how to honor our energy, and also have an understanding of how we connect with other people's energy that differs from ours. And the third area that we want to focus on when we're translating this information, translating that foundation, is loving the work that you do. How not easy does life feel when you wake up every single morning dreading going to your job, or dreading your business, or dreading your career, whatever it is that you're working on? We want to make sure that we align this information with what you're passionate about, but also what purpose you're here to fulfill. Because yes, your purpose is coded in your DNA, which is in your human design. So loving the work you do, we want to translate that foundational piece of your human design into how that actually shows up in the work that you do. Now, the experimentation part, this is crucial. Like I said, this is the pinnacle of this. I call my experience with human design my human design experiment. I've been experimenting with human design since 2018. And truth be told, I am still experimenting with human design and seeing what new things are showing up and how this feels, and really connecting with certain parts of my human design and experimenting with other parts. So I love to call this a human design experiment, and that's why I title myself a human design facilitator, because I am here to facilitate your human design experiment to feel more authentic and to make life easier while you connect to your authentic soul. Now, the three parts of the experimentation is, first and foremost, prioritizing, right? When we're moving into this experiment, we need to prioritize your energy and understand what boundaries you need in place and how you can really have the confidence to be able to prioritize your energy while you're making these changes and while you're moving through this experiment. The second part of the experimentation phase is that we need to set some goals, friend. We need to set some intentions. We need to know what we're manifesting, what we're fixing, what we're working towards. If we don't have a goal in sight, or we don't have a finish line in sight, how are we going to know that we're making progress? How are we going to know what's working and what's not, right? We need to know what it is we're working towards so that the experiment is A, exciting, and B, actually has momentum because we're moving towards something. So the second part here is we need to set our goals. And I actually created my own acronym for setting goals because SMART goals don't resonate with me. I hated hearing about them in university. So I created my own acronym that I work with my clients to set our goals. And the last piece, my friends, pay close attention. The last piece that we need for this experimentation phase, which is absolutely overlooked and absolutely critical, is we need to reflect on the process. We need to reflect on the experiment. We need to reflect on what's working, what's not, what's resonating, what's not, what other things are coming up. Because that's the thing, this is a never-ending journey. Like I said, I've been on my human design experiment since 2018. At the time of this recording, it is midway through 2021. And I'm still experimenting with my authentic soul, with my authenticity, and how to continue making my life easier and easier and easier. And the thing is that as we make progress, new things come up. Oh, this is a new challenge, or this is a new feeling, or this is a new experience. But we have a really solid foundation. We have the translation, so we can keep experimenting as things pop up. So there we have it, my sweet loves. This is exactly what I do and why I do it when I work with my clients to help them feel more authentic, help them make their lives feel easier, and connect to their authentic soul.